We are reporting live for News 1 at the University of California at Berkeley. Today, on December 3rd, 1964, at the steps of Spruill Hall, we can see the mass demonstration occurring on campus. These alleged protests have been occurring for months now and have only increased in size. The students claim to be protesting because the university banned not only civil rights but also anti-war demonstrations on campus. Now we meet with Mario Savia, one of the head students in charge of the protests. Mario, can you give us a little more detail on what exactly is going on?
Yes. With the leadership of many SDS members such as Michael Rossman, Brian Turner, Bettina Aptheker, Steve Weissman, Art Goldberg, Jackie Goldberg, and many more, we are hoping to make a change in regard to free speech. Our main goal is to get the university administration to lift the ban of on-campus political activities and acknowledge the students' right to free speech and academic freedom.
Well, you sure have put together a crowd. As you can see, thousands gather here today, as they have been for the past few months, to fight for what they believe in. A new switch for many people today by moving to the far left side of the political scale. Mario, can you tell us what was one of the catalysts that led you to this demonstration?
It all began on June 15, 1962, when I was at a United Auto Workers retreat in Port Huron, Michigan, for the SDS's first national convention. I was amazed by the dedication that Tom Hayden, the field secretary of SDS, had, who wrote the Port Huron Statement. The statement's ideals included the elimination of poverty and racism and an end to the Cold War politics. This really inspired me to do my part in the protest and to change the country, and so far we have come a long way. We have even set the tone for other progressive groups on college campuses, which are now known as the New Left. We hope and encourage these active branches to spread even more to get the ideas across.
Well, thank you for this interview.
Thank you. Hello, and welcome to the show American Women with a Purpose. We are all going crazy over the newest book called The Feminine Mystique by openly challenging many women's assumptions about women's place in society. Not all people are pleased with it. Today, we discuss with the talented Betty Friedan, the author and one of the founders of NOW, the National Organization for Women, about the book that has become the talk of the town. Betty, what does being a feminist mean to you?
Well, it means many different things to me, but my main priority is to make sure that women achieve the same rights as men. I know that I was not the only woman who was frustrated with being treated as a second-class citizen, while all these other new left groups are male-dominated and are insensitive to the cause of women's rights. I founded NOW in 1966 with a few other strong-minded women to fight for legislative changes, including the ill-fated Equal Rights Amendment to the Constitution.
We all commend you for your efforts, Betty. For the past 3 years have given so much hope to us women who want to make a change. You identify the problem that has no name. So can you give us some insight on that?
Of course! I used it to restart the women's movement, which had faded once women's suffrage was achieved with the 19th Amendment in 1920. We feminists also fight against discrimination in hiring, pay, college admissions, financial aid, and control of reproductive rights. The advances of science, the development of labor-saving appliances, the development of the suburbs, all had come together to offer women in the 1950s a life their mothers had scarcely dreamed of, free from rampant disease, onerous drudgery, noxious city streets. But the green lawns and big corner lots were isolating. The housework seemed to expand to fill the time available, and polio and smallpox were replaced by depression and alcoholism. All that was covered up in a kitchen conspiracy of denial. But instead, the problem was with the mystique of wax floors and perfectly applied lipstick.
Well, thank you for all that information, Betty. We can only hope that these efforts can lead to greater autonomy for us women. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. Go women!
Hello, I am here today live with an exclusive interview with political activist Jerry Rubin. As a founding member of the Youth International Party, or YIP, members are often referred to as Yippies. His informal organization has rallied for many leftist ideals. Mr. Rubin was recently subpoenaed to appear before the House on Un-American Activities Committee. And instead of pleading to fifth like most subpoenaed people had in these hearings, Mr. Rubin entered the hearing room dressed as an 18th century American revolutionary, claiming he was related to Thomas Jefferson and Thomas Paine while he blew soap bubbles toward the committee members. On another HUAC hearing, he dressed as a guerrilla in Viet Cong pajamas and had a toy M16 rifle, and on another occasion dressed as Santa Claus. Mr. Rubin, please reiterate your views dominating the media, both domestic and international.
Hello. Of course. First of all, I'm opposed to the superfluous war in Vietnam. I organized the Vietnam Day Committee, which has provided for many rallies and protests regarding the war. My march on the Pentagon landed me 5 years in jail for misconduct. I also believe that Nixon and his presidential opponent are both useless candidates for presidency and that both would be disgraceful to the American government. Therefore, the Yippies and I have nominated our own candidate for presidency, who we feel would be an equal opponent of standing to both Richard Nixon and Hubert Humphrey. Our candidate is Pegasus, a 145-pound pig, and if he wins the election, he will be eaten. This maintains the usual democratic process in which a pig is elected and proceeds to eat the American people. Nixon has declared a war on drugs. He originally had it in mind to give help to people who had drug issues, but now that he has become obsessed with his conservative agenda, he feels that there should be extremely steep sentences given for minor convictions, such as possession. I, on the other hand, support the legalization of marijuana, which Nixon believes is a hardcore drug. I am also in favor of black power and protested against a local Berkeley grocer who refused to hire black people to run the checkout lines.
How do you believe that counterculture and the plight of hippies has affected America today, Jerry?
Well, I believe that the American people have become more aware of the implications of the far-right, hyper-conservative principles of Richard Nixon and the corruption of the American government. The American people have been lied to by the government for many, many years, and because of this movement, they have been enlightened on foreign ideas for revolutionaries, such like Che Guevara, who advocated for transformation in the American government. This movement has also made the American people more open to ideas such as homosexuality, abortion, and spirituality. Gender roles have undergone a level of transformation and society has become more open to sexual freedom.
Thank you for this captivating information, Jerry. Always a pleasure.
No problem. Thank you for having me. And as always, make love, not war.